Hi there. I have a business that I'm trying to launch. I've been a life coach for a number of years. While I was in Los Angeles, I spent a large part of my time learning about orgasmic meditation and about connection. Uh, and I spent a fair amount of money on this course. It was called the coaching program, and it was about connecting in in a way, in terms of the male, female, masculine, feminine kind of thing, which includes sexuality as a component. And then I spent a year going through a business mentorship program. They're both great courses, but I spent a lot of money on those courses. And I am now at a place where I really need to launch my business. And so I'm sharing this because I'm feeling a little stuck. It took me most of the year before I really got clear about what my niche was. And as it turns out, I went through a lot of different phases, but ultimately it's about authentic sharing. It's about authentic self-expression for me, because one of the things that I know, okay, so let me explain a little background here. One of the ways to discover your niche is to find out where your core wound is. And my core wound is around authentic self-expression. And when I was a baby, my father used to hit me when I would cry. I don't have any real recollection of it, but it was a trauma and it's a core wound. So, so I realized that this is what I want to offer, because I have spent the better part of my life working on this. And it's kind of like the notion that you teach what you need to learn. And it's kind of like one of my mentors said that it's kind of like when you have a core wound, it becomes your PhD of life. You don't go to school for it, but everything you do is related to this core wound, and you learn a lot about how to get through this. And so I realized that part of this authenticity, authentic self-expression, is related to understanding and getting clear about what truly is going on in the world. It's kind of like your inner truth needs to match or align with the outer truth, whatever truth is going on in the world. And so that is one of the things that I have been exploring over the last 6 months, and actually for the last few years. I think my first inklings around something's wrong with the world is when 9/11 happened, because that was a very marked event that opened my eyes in many ways, because I had a lot of friends who were involved in uncovering what was really going on. So I say all that because I am now at this one place. I have a landing page on what you might call a website, and I'm basically trying to write something that will enroll people in joining this community that I'm creating. And I've been stuck over the last couple of days, and so I felt like I needed to share this with you as just part of my process, because I said when I started this that one of my goals was to launch my business when I moved up here to Dunsmuir, to the Mount Shasta area. And so I have a lot of gifts to share, and I am just not clear. I think I've got some ideas. I am calling this this community site that I'm creating Unplugged from the Matrix, because that is something that I feel like once you begin to discover the truth, that you really want to unplug from the Matrix. And I love the movie The Matrix because it shared so much on so many different levels. There's this guy, Mark Passio, who actually did a video on uncovering the symbolism and the meaning behind the Matrix. The Matrix movies, all three of them, which was really good. And so I love the metaphor of the Matrix. He called the movie an allegory, and I believe that it really is. And so the way I see the Matrix is the world, as Morpheus says, that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. And it really is. So, like I said, over the last 6 months especially, I've really gone deep down the rabbit hole and discovered so much that it's just shocked me to my core. And so I have been unplugging from the Matrix, and to tell you how plugged into the Matrix I was and how much I was a part of the system is that I actually was an engineer in the defense industry. And so I was actually supporting the military-industrial complex. Not realizing it, of course. I mean, I had fun doing it. It was all interesting. But I didn't realize what it was all a part of. And I'm much more clear about that now. But at some point, I got bored with it and wanted to do something that was much more interesting to me, which was about people and about empowering people. And that's when I started my journey to unplug from the Matrix, and I was able to do that. So I feel like that's something that I can support people in, about how to unplug from the Matrix. And that is the core, I think, of the business that I want to offer people. That ultimately it's about, how do we unplug from the Matrix? How do we create a reality that is actually separate from the Matrix? A reality that is much more about consciousness and about joy, abundance, freedom. So I just wanted to share that with you, and in sharing, what I hope to do is to kind of get unstuck, because I think that this is part of what I call authentic sharing. That when you share your thoughts and feelings, you know, because I've got all kinds of fears around expressing myself, because I feel like I'll get all kinds of judgments and condemnation and, you know, all the stuff that can happen, especially with social media. But I feel like when you share from the heart, share your mind, thoughts, voices, share your feelings, you know, the fears that you have, that that will actually clear and move energy, so that you can actually begin to get empowered in whatever it is that you want to get empowered around, which for me is launching my business. So thank you for listening, and I'll have something more for you tomorrow. All right?